Today, we're doing a serious talk about my career, so you can learn from my experiences and maybe get some more context on things like why I disappear for several months at a time. Does that sound useful? Of course it does. So, let's get started. You know how, there's this pandemic thing, right? If it wasn't for that, I would probably be full time traveling and grinding social media like Luke Corns or Nathaniel Drew and working on some tech startup. But by early 2020, that seemed like not a good idea. I really believe that my strength is not being the best at coding or making videos or being a business leader. I kind of combine a lot of different skills and do them average or above average. And so I really think that being a more interesting and cultured person will help me build bigger businesses in the future. But if I can't travel and, learn new languages, meet new people, then how about, I try just studying something on my own. So I started doing a lot of small machine learning projects. The idea is do a lot of these small projects, monetize them with YouTube sponsorships, so at least I have some money while I'm exploring. And then when I find something that I think has a lot of potential, try to turn it into a startup. That was the plan. I did this for a while, and then I realized the more you read, the more you build, the more you talk to people, the more you realize that nobody really understands how this machine learning stuff works. And I find it very interesting. So my thinking was, let's just start small, get a machine learning job somewhere, I've never done that before, and work with people who know more than me. It turns out I applied to over 60 companies, and I was rejected from all the startups, all the mid-sized companies, and all the Chinese companies. So my only choice was to go to the FAANG companies. That wasn't the plan, and I'm not sure what happened, but I don't really want to ask. So anyways, while that's happening, I just had this thought in the back of my head that I really need to focus my career around some specific industry. My old thing was entertainment, specifically games and social media. I loved that stuff growing up, and when I started coding, I always tried to build something in that space. But in the last couple years, I tried building new businesses in entertainment. It just felt kind of meaningless to me. And that's not how I used to feel. To give you some context, when I started making games in university, which was almost 10 years ago now, I made a dozen games before Frantic Architect finally took off and got to the top charts of the App Store. And throughout the process of making those games, I quit after Frantic Architect because I had other startup and job opportunities, but throughout the process of making those games, I never really cared when they failed. I thought it was a great learning experience. This is probably the best thing I could be doing given my experience and my interests, so let's just move on to the next one. And I had the same attitude with YouTube. I made around 20 videos over 8 months before one of them took off. And I never really got discouraged and never thought about quitting. But now I am a very different person. I don't spend that much time playing video games or browsing social media. So I had to think for a really long time, what kind of industry do I want to work in for the rest of my life? I know that whatever I choose, I'll probably take a lot of breaks because I need that to get more perspective and try new things, gain new experiences. But if I can keep coming back to something, then over the course of my career, I'll make more progress and impact. And I care about that a lot because I don't really buy stuff that much. I don't even like going on vacation. Most of the time, I'd rather just be working. So I want my work to be important. And if I were to just pick some arbitrary goal, like a financial goal or some kind of startup company mission, achieve it, and then hard quit the thing afterwards, that's just not a very efficient use of my career. So after many, many months of thinking, I finally decided, let's try biotech. I always really wanted to do genetic engineering and bioinformatics, basically since the beginning of university, but back then, I think I made the right choice that if I wanted to do entrepreneurship, I should do something technically simpler first. So, I don't regret that at all. But now I'm more experienced and more financially secure, so let's try. Everyone agrees it's important. One of my weaknesses is that I'm sometimes too curious about stuff. I always want to learn everything. And in biology, there's just too much to learn. If I spent, all my time reading and doing research, I could do that for the rest of my life and not really amount to anything. So the first thing I did a few months ago was to reach out to some biologists, mainly in the Bay Area where I am now. And for the most part, they've been happy to give me advice or help me out with my experiments, give me some lab space to work with, or let me contribute to their projects. So I've been really grateful for that. I do know that, I can't spread myself too thin. It's kind of tough doing this on the side while having a full-time job. So I decided that I would spend part of my time contributing to a project that, has already been around for a while, get more experience, meet new people, and also try designing something on my own. Because I think it's very important, even when you don't know very much, to try to build businesses end to end. Like design the thing, or like come up with the idea, design the thing, implement it, try to market it. Because if you only focus on one narrow aspect, a lot of times you lose sight of the bigger picture, and then you don't really realize, why you failed. You just know that, you couldn't do this one thing, right? But there actually could have been a whole lot of other things that you didn't do right? You just don't know, right? You gotta try everything first, and maybe not spend too much time on any specific thing, but get the bigger picture. At least that's what I think. Don't take it from me. I know that a lot of biotech companies get a bad rap because they spend a lot of money and time in R&D, like sometimes billions of dollars, and still not really amount to anything. And that's obviously a big concern for me. But once in a while, there are companies that are successful. You have Moderna. And as somebody who doesn't understand statistics very well, and also somebody who doesn't care too much about making money right now and just wants to, do something useful that in the long run will make a lot of money, because I think that building businesses, reinvesting into bigger projects, that's really how you get things done in the world. It's good enough for me.